I have to send a message to our fans because we're trying everything and to win games here. And the side of luck in obviously in the last two games are not going in our direction. As you all know, the decision on the PK didn't help. We is the one thing that we most desire. Is the one thing that most frustrates us because we want to win with our fans. We know how much sacrifices they do, how much they support us. They were behind us all the time, every game. But today we felt it again, and we were able to tie the game because they were helping. And it's a pity that we cannot close those games and win it. And we have to just keep working. I hope like we can give a really good nights to them soon, and we just have to keep growing as a team in the way that we are doing. I think we've improved a lot in our style of play and the way that we're playing, how we are dominating games and opponents, and we're imposing our style of play. And it's about the details,
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Top Fly Pod. I'm your host, Hernan. Of course, you can call me H. I'm here with my G Tucker, also known as Monterrey, the great Monterrey. We just heard from Coach Nico Estevez there, mate. Before we get into the Austin FC topics, how are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, dude, I'm good. There's a lot to talk about, a lot of good and bad things, but we'll get to it.
Definitely. We will get to it. A lot to talk about today. We're going to get through the usual Austin FC. And then, of course, as you can tell, my G Tucker has the Chelsea Blues. We're going to get through some EPL topics and also some La Liga topics and some other things here and there. Of course, some transfer talk there at the end of the episode. So stay tuned to the very end. Before we get into the topics, I want to send a shout out to everybody that's on the Patreon, everybody that's on the Discord, of course. Appreciate the support from everybody. Without y'all, a lot of this would not be possible. So just wanted to send a little bit of a shout out there. Shout out to the team. Shout out to Alex, Diego Valencia, all the lads, Ozzy Cruz, Salome, everybody that's taking part of the WATV channel. Also, my G Scott, all the what you need to know is being written up by there. Follow us on Substack if you like to keep up with reading coverage. Anything that you want to read, we got you there before the match days. Tuck, a lot to get into. And you know what? Let's just jump right into the match. Austin FC 1-1 against FC Dallas. That's 2 points out of 6 from the Texas derbies at Q2 Stadium. Now, a lot of conversation was going into these two games. I won't say that they were automatic dubs, but they were favorable matches where you'd think Austin FC was going to come out with 6 points out of 6. There was 13 shots for Austin FC. 4 of those were on target, mate. They had 65% possession, and they had 6 corners. They tied versus Houston. It's impossible to look at this Dallas game without thinking about that Houston game as well. Now, it's important to note, Tuck, that both teams were lower than Austin FC in the table when they played. Stuver mentioned that they're undefeated in 6. They haven't lost since the Seattle match away from home. So, Tuck, I just want to get your general thoughts on the match against Dallas at home. 2 derbies, 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very different story than the Houston game. The Houston game was just unacceptable 2 points dropped. This game, I don't think we deserve to win at all. I don't think I think we were honestly – I think a draw was the right result because Dallas, their plan was just play anti-football and put all 11 guys behind the ball and just defend and play boring ball. They took off Musa 45 minutes in. After the first – they were not trying to play that. They did not want to play that game. They just wanted to sit back and defend. And that's what they did. And we don't have enough. We only have 2 creative players, and we're only playing one. Honestly, I'm going to say we're not playing them right now to the way we need to be to be able to break down low blocks, but we'll get into that.
Now, of course, mate, you mentioned the fact that Austin FC has those 2 creative players. It's been a very difficult season for Austin FC when you're talking about the creativity, the offense. And Coach Nico did, allude to the fact that people forget that they're a new coaching staff, that they're a new team. And I'm just like, Coach, when San Diego is leading the West right now, I don't want to hear that. Yeah. I really don't want to hear that. But we did have a clip there, Tucker, that we played at the beginning of the pod as the intro. And it's Coach Nico pretty much using the first minutes of the press conference to not address the question asked by the member of the media. Shout out to my G, Kobe Gordon of the Austin American Statesman. But he uses that time, Tucker, to address the fan base, address the fans. As soon as I heard him say, hey, you know what? First of all, let me talk to the fans. Sounds to me like a manager that's a little bit worried, maybe not worried about his job, but just maybe worried about, how people are going to see his team from the outside. Because, of course, they're not inside. They're not in the locker room. They're not everyday training. Fans out leaving Q2 Stadium. I mean, you've seen them in the reactions and also on spaces. They've been very frustrated, especially after these last two games that not only take you out of Copa Tejas, but they put you in this weird struggle, this weird fight, mate, for playoffs that Austin FC just really cannot get out of, unfortunately for these lads. Now, Coach Nico, he did mention how there was a play that Austin FC didn't get called for them, that in the past it was called against them. He's talking probably about the penalty called against them in DC, where Svatok has his hands wrapped around Benteke. There was one instance in this match where Usuni is also, they have his hands wrapped around him. Nothing is called on that. So maybe that's what Coach Nico is kind of alluding to there or whatnot. But just anything else kind of in general that you wanted to add to this match, Tucker? I mean, another thing, 3 penalties called against Austin FC in the last 4 games. I mean, that's an interesting stat there. I don't think it's a discipline issue. A lot of them have just been weird, unlucky penalty calls.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I don't like blaming the refs. Let me start by saying that. I think refs cannot be an excuse for poor performances, right? I think we can all agree on that. However, the past like 3, 4, 5 games have been really dodgy. I mean, you look at the Houston one, that one was obviously terrible. I mean, even the Dallas one, I don't want to blame the ref, but I mean, we shouldn't be needing penalties to win a game, but we should have gotten a penalty on Azuni. And I mean, the ref against Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, he reffed the MLS Cup final in 2023. So he's supposed to be one of the best refs in the country. And it just felt like he was just not on it. And he just wasn't on pace. He was letting the game play when he shouldn't, and then not letting the game play when he should, just missing calls, but then calling them against it was just another bad showing from the refs.
And, typical derby kind of game, you definitely had that vibe, mate. I mean, both teams were kind of banging each other. They were going at it. It was a very physical game, right? Even Coach Nico talks about it here in the post-match. I have the quote graphic here on screen. He says that Savovic could provide the team with more physicality because in the end of the match, Dallas was adding strong players there. That's when we asked him about, why bring on Savovic when people were maybe expecting a little bit more of an offensive substitution when the game was still 1-1. And Coach Nico says, hey, I just need a little bit of more muscle in the midfield there because Dallas was getting real physical there in the midfield. But I want to talk about the goal that Austin FC scored, me, because you can't really talk about this game without talking about Owen Wolff. Now, as soon as the game ended, right, there was talk about Owen Wolff, giving him his flowers. He's been a player that's been very consistent for Austin FC in recent games. He's on incredible form, right? That's our player focus for this episode, really. He has 1 assist in 9 games playing at center mid. He has 3 goals in 8 games playing at left mid. That's kind of the big conversation right now. Where is his best position? And he's 20 years old. He has 3 goals, 7 assists this season, and he's the youngest player to reach 10 goal contributions in a season for Austin FC, mate. That's pretty damn massive for young Owen Wolff. We got the graphic here on screen. But Tuck, your thoughts on Owen Wolff? He gets a very important goal, not only for the match, but also, like I said, for this kind of, historic achievement. Youngest player to reach 10 goal contributions for Austin FC. And he's not done yet. I'm sure he's going to pick up either more assists or more goals. But your thoughts on, Owen Wolff, a guy that's been very important for Austin this year. I don't think anybody really expected this Owen this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's our most important player. It's as simple as that. He was the best player on the pitch against Dallas for either team, honestly. He was outstanding. I mean, he got that one nutmeg off that just got all of the crowds up off their feet. That was crazy. he's just a great player. Like, you can put 3 people on him and he gets out of it and can create. Like, he's been our best player, and I mean the stats show it. Like, he's racking up goals and assists. Like, it feels like every game now. Like, he's just, if he can start adding goals consistently to this game, he's going to be one of the best players in the league next season. Like, without a doubt, he's just that good.
And you know what, Tuck? There's no better person to hear from than Owen Wolff himself. And this is one of the great things of 2025 is that We're Austin TV has access to the locker rooms, post-match. So let's hear what Owen Wolff had to say when we asked him about playing on the left, playing in the center, because as of late, the goals for him have been coming on that left side. So let's hear from Owen.
And with Rubio in the midfield and Dani also in the midfield, you've been moved more to the wing. Are you feeling better positionally on the wing, or do you prefer the midfield?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere on the field, I won't complain. But just trying to execute my role as best as possible to help the team succeed is my main concern.
Thank you.
So typical, mate. Let me take this photo of typical of Owen Wolff. Soccer player answer. He just wants to play wherever he's gonna get his minutes, and he's been kind of like a Swiss Army knife for sure. 100% ever since the start of his career. Remember those days where everybody was like, oh well, he's played on the left, on the right, he's everywhere. And but he also talked about kind of like what if he's doing anything different. Now this is from Gustavo from Hispanos ATX, and I'll play the clip right now. Owen Wolff after the game against Dallas.
Goals on the last 4 games. Are you doing something special in training?
No, not really. Just doing the same thing. I'm just getting chances in the game and capitalizing on them.
How do you feel about that?
Good. I feel really good. Excited for this next game. These last 2 games we had at home didn't go the way we wanted to, but what can you do about that? So we're going to move on to the next and keep moving forward.
So I got to ask you, Tuck, where do you like Owen Wolff the most? I know we talked a little bit about it on the space, but now that a little bit of time has passed, you've been able to get your thoughts together. This stat comes out about Owen Wolff being, the youngest player to get 10 goal contributions in a season for Austin FC at just 20 years old. I mean, where do you like Owen Wolff the most? Do you like what you've seen recently at him on the left side, or do you miss him in the midfield, in the center?
Yeah, dude, do you remember that era when he was playing right back? That was crazy.
Yeah,
that was a crazy time. No, I think in this match it showed we need him in the midfield. That is, I mean, his best position, and I mean that's where like his best skills shine. Where there can be 3 people around him, and he can get out of there and make a chance. Like, that's the creativity and type of player we need in the midfield. And that's what breaks down low blocks. When you have somebody that draws attention to the middle, they can't just put everybody in the box. Like, they have to go out and mark him, which creates more space for the players around him, like a Nizuni, like a Bakari, like whoever you want to play on left wing. I mean, in my opinion, Gallagher, but that's another conversation. But I think you desperately needed him in the midfield, and I mean, it showed in the result.
Now, Owen Wolff, like we mentioned, mate, definitely a kid, still a kid, can't drink yet legally. He's not 21. Still a kid in my book, leaving his mark in Austin FC. Now, who knows what the future holds for this guy? I remember not too long ago there was rumors about him going to Liga. There was was it Brest Champions League side that was kind of maybe after him or whatnot. That kind of died out or whatnot. I also remember way back when Josh Wolff was still the coach of Austin FC, Owen Wolff had like a trial or some kind of thing, a camp thing with PSV. Remember there was a podcast that his father and himself did with a gentleman up there in the Netherlands. I forget the name of it, but it was actually pretty good. It was in informative or whatnot. But I just wanted to mention how, as much as I like Owen Wolff's form right now, Tucker, I can't just get out of my mind that Owen Wolff that we saw in Leagues Cup down the middle, right? When they played Pumas, when they played Monterrey. And as much as I like what I've seen him do on the left side, these headers, the cooking that he did on that right-hand side where he, nutmeg that guy or whatnot, I have that image of Leagues Cup Owen Wolff in my head, and I have a dream. Of Owen down the middle, Bukhari on the right side, and a proper left hand winger on that side to fully get this offense going for Austin FC. I have a dream, mate. I have a dream, and I hope one day it shall happen. Owen
Yeah.
is a great player. But I don't know how long it's gonna last for him on that left side. He's gonna play wherever they tell him to, but we shouldn't have to play him on that side. When you have Gallagher, when you have Robert Taylor, there's other options there, mate.
No, I mean, I completely agree. I also just feel like we could mold Owen into what Driussi was in 2022 in that 10 position. I think he has the skills and the technicality to just move like that. I mean, he can just, if he picks up the ball, he doesn't lose it, right? He doesn't. So, I mean, you turn him into this ball playing, like this guy that plays in a 10, drops back to create plays, but also makes these perfect time runs into the right spaces in the box to get those chances and those goals, just right place, right time. I mean, that's our Driussi. Like, that's exactly what we need. We just, I mean, like you said, like, I completely agree. We desperately need a left wing because we're just kind of makeshift throwing players there. And you can tell in the games, like, there's a very clear need for a proper left wing because even when we're playing there, like, there's times where we get it to Biru and there's nowhere there because we're playing midfielders at left wing, so their natural instincts are to drift into the midfield. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. And also credit to Biru for getting some shots off recently that are really that of a left winger, of a player that's that's creative down that left side, making a cut in, getting a knuckleball kind of shot off, making the keeper make a very uncomfortable save. That's what you want from a player that's playing on the left side, right? And credit to Biru for getting his goals. We posted that stat. He's the third highest goal scorer for Austin FC. He has 3 goals himself. I mean, credit to him. Big ups, 100%. But that's not what he should be doing for Austin FC, right? That's not his job consistently, right? He shouldn't have to worry so much about that. But that's where Austin FC is at right now on that left-hand side. And you got to play young Owen Wolff over there. And credit to him that he's doing a marvelous job. But it's kind of putting makeup over a bigger problem. That side is a big issue for Austin FC. And, when Brandon Vasquez went down, it just made the issue even bigger. And one more thing on this kind of department, mate. Rubio, the experiment with him when Brandon Vasquez went down, at first, it was working fantastic. But recently with the Houston and the Dallas game, although maybe individually he and Osuni might be doing great jobs, hasn't translated into goals. And although you can talk about things being unlucky on the defensive side, you can't skip over the lackluster attack that Austin FC still has and is still going through right now. So at first I was down with the Rubio experiment, and it's not like I have any other option. There's really nothing you can do, right? There's really nothing you can do. So just any thoughts, Tucker, on that? I mean, I feel like teams are starting to figure out based on film what Austin FC is going to do with that 4-4-2 structure.
Yeah, I think not only, I mean, these last 2 ages, unfortunately, like, Rubio has shown his age. Like, by the 50, 60th minute mark, you got to take him out, and then you lose his creativity. And then
100%.
There's other problems too. Like, I feel like I've been crying out for this for months now, but we need to start letting Bakari cut inside and shoot, or just get more shots up in general. It feels like he's obviously very good and probably our most skillful player on the team. But when you only let him go down the line and cross, teams know what he's going to do. They know they'll get burned by him, but he's not getting a shot off. It's as simple as that, right? I feel like this. I'm kind of rambling at this point with Bakari, but like, I feel like after the first 6 or 7, maybe 8 games of the season, there was a sit down with Bakari where maybe somebody just said, just pass the ball. Because if you remember early in the season, he was taking shots. There were a lot of shots he was taking, and even some of the fan base was like, why is he taking these shots? And I mean, he was being played. I remember he was being played left wing too. Like, he was just kind of being shoehorned. Like, it didn't really know what was going on with him in the beginning of the season. And then after, maybe the 8th, 9th game of the season, he just stopped shooting entirely. And it was just go down the line and pass the ball. And now, as good as he is, I feel like we're not utilizing him. And he's another player where I feel like if you let him cut inside and do his thing and take shots, that's what helps break down a Dallas low block. right? That is how you break down low blocks. Use your skillful technical players to create to take shots. It's as simple as that. And we're just not letting him do that.
100%, mate. Now, Bukhari is a player that Austin FC is going to depend on heavily, moving forward, especially with a guy like Brendan Vasquez being out. And I think, we're still seeing Bukhari get to his best form, like his best self. I feel like every 2 weeks or so we see an improvement in Bukhari's game. Either it's in maybe a decision that he's doing better, or it's in like passes that he's completing, or it's shots that he's taking himself. But you're right, there was a moment I clearly remember, and even Bukhari kind of mentioned it, made in like some midweek or some post-match moments, where he was saying like my first thought is to look for Brandon Vasquez. Look for BV9, because there maybe was to sit down and say, hey, Bukhari, do what you got to do, cook 1-2, break one guy, but pick your head up and look for the guy in the center. And if you go even further back, you remember Usuni's post-match comments where he was saying, I'm telling Bukhari where to look because I'm there and he doesn't see me, right? So that's all. If you can connect the dots 100%. But I do want to keep going here, mate. But credit to Owen Wolff, of course. He's been doing fantastic for Austin FC. And real quick, market value for Owen Wolff, mate, $3 million as of June 6th, 2025. He has only gone up in value. He has not gone down. Contract with Austin FC, I believe, until 2027 with club option for sure. And just to remind everybody, this kid is on a supplemental spot for Austin FC. Does not count against the salary budget. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
But real quick, let's hear some more post-match comments from the players in the locker room, and we'll react to what they had to say. I want to start off with Mikel Desler. He had some interesting things to say. Here we go.
Yeah, obviously, I feel like we missing 2 extra points. It's a bit same feeling against Houston, but today we came back from behind 1-0, so it's a bit different. But I think first half was not good enough. Maybe we were a little bit surprised about how deep they actually were, and we needed to figure out how to explore that. And in the second half, we showed some more courage and was more brave, and we got a goal out of it, and sadly we didn't get another one.
Now, Mikel Desler there, mate, mentioning how deep Dallas was. And Tucker, you and I were both talking about how Dallas just really didn't show up to play. They were looking for Austin FC to, kind of just, they were just baiting them, like, hey, come into our area. There was big chunks of the game where everybody except Stuver was in Dallas's half, right? That was the match against Dallas, and they were just waiting for Austin. And in one of the ugliest plays that I've seen in recent games, Dallas gets a goal against the run of play. Personally, I think when Austin FC was dominating the match, there's a freaky, just silly ricochet clearance. Abubakar has a very harsh slide tackle on his former teammate Diego Rubio. It lands to Musa. And the only criticism, Tucker, here, before you can give me your thoughts on what Desler had to say and this Dallas goal or whatnot and the way that they played, the only criticism I have on the goal that Dallas scored for Austin FC players is Beto and Owen. The ball is floating in, and they both just kind of stare at it, go to Musa. Musa very intelligently just kind of like, it's not with his toes, it's not with the inside of his boot, it's like with his laces, with the tongue of his boot, just kind of flicks it over to Shaq Moore. Terrible player, made fun of all over the internet. Gets a goal on Brad Stuver, one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Go figure how that one happened. Apparently, it's his third goal this year, which I would like a recount. But anyway, Shaq Moore gets his goal, and I just had a criticism for Owen and Beto. If Owen would have just ran into that and put a header or shoulder on it, Dallas wouldn't have scored, and it would have been at least a 1-0, and it would have been 4 points out of 2 derbies. Maybe the conversation would have been different. How are you seeing it, Tuck, what Mikel Desler had to say?
I mean, it's exactly what Dallas wanted to happen, right? They wanted to come here, not play the game, and just wait for us to either concede on a counter or concede off of a mistake. And that's exactly what happened. We
100%
lost concentration, and one of the worst players in the world that somehow made a World Cup squad in 2022 scored a goal. So that's how it is.
Made fun of all over the internet, mate.
Yeah.
Scored against our Stuver. Insane work. I can't believe it, but it happened. When I saw, because I was watching it by the press box, so you can't really like You can't really see who scored or whatnot, especially if it's the other team. You don't know whose body it is or whatnot. And I had to check on my phone. I saw S Moore. I was like, fam, Shaq Moore? Fam, Shaq Moore? I was like, how low did we stoop this week, mate?
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible. But here we have Stuver. Now, just warning everybody, Stuver looks destroyed. I don't know. Buddy was just look rough. However, Stuver just cares. He cares a lot about this team. He's captain. So let's hear what Stuver had to say on the mentality and the subs coming in both Houston and the Dallas games.
Two very different games, two very different responses. Obviously, the subs were different, but at the end of the day, everybody in this locker room is going to have to make a difference going forward. And when everybody gets their chance to play, they need to step up and be ready to help the team. And I thought the guys that came in today did a good job of giving us a little bit of life, giving us a little bit of more chances. And yeah, like I said, everyone just has to be kind of tuned in, ready to go for next week.
Today.
Now, Tuck, first thing that I want to ask you, is Stuver sending words of encouragement, or is he sending shots, maybe not shots, or a message at players that maybe are underperforming right now?
I mean, I think it could be a bit of both. You know what I mean? I think it's both. I as a leader in the
you
team,
heard it, right? You heard
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like but like
As
give
a-
me a hug.
as one of the senior leaders in this team, he has a right to call players out. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I feel like he's a professional. He's not going to go onto the media and say, hey, this guy's not doing a good job. This guy's not doing a good job.
100%.
Like, he can say, hey, you know who you are, basically. You know what I mean?
Damn, like that. Hey, you know who you are. To the
Yeah.
oh my days. Imagine. Oh, the media would have a field day with that one.
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree with you, mate. Stuver, as soon as I heard him say, guys are gonna have to step up, I was like, oh damn. But then he backdoors it with, I think everybody did a great job today. It's like, okay, true captain there.
Yeah.
Calling guys out, but at the same time, he's also kind of, just mentioning how, hey, you know what? We did what we had to do today. We got a point. We haven't lost since that Seattle game. So, Stuver being a captain, Stuver being Stuver, he's finding positives and maybe moments where some guys are maybe in a negative spot. I mean, I've been post-match in the locker rooms when the result wasn't as favorable, and some of these guys get really, they get really brought down, more, just aura-wise, energy-wise, this is their job. And some of these guys, they're just big kids. They're just big teenagers that are still playing this game. They get paid, big bucks to just essentially kick this ball around. There's serious jobs out there, and then there's this thing that you call football, and these guys just get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to just put a ball into the back of the net, and that's just the way that the world works. But some of these guys, they really truly care. This is their profession, and nobody likes to lose. I don't like to lose a freaking anything. I don't care. I don't care what it is, man. I get competitive with anything. I tell you right now, checkers, it doesn't matter. Tic-tac-toe, I don't care. If we're eating at Chewy's and the waitress brings my nephew the crayons and a coloring thing, whatever, we're playing tic-tac-toe, and I'm not going easy on you, mate. I don't care. I don't care if you're 6. I'm not going easy on you, bro. But anyways, I forgot what we were even talking about. Stuver, mate. But no, just like you said, Tucker, captain response there from Brad Stuver. And anything else you'd like to add on either Mikkel Desler or what Brad Stuver had to say?
Not really. I mean, I think everything that needs to be said has been said. I think we know the situation, and they know too. They know where we're at, and they have to do better.
100%. Now, I got my eye on the clock. We'll spend just a couple of minutes on this next topic here, and it's the problem in this FC Dallas game. Now, it was either Dallas locking it down and playing their back 5 or their just severe back 4, or Austin FC's lackluster attack. Coach Nico says that Dallas has been playing this form for some games now, and it has been working for them. Austin had trouble through, breaking Dallas lines, and Dallas was waiting for a mistake from Austin FC, as what we had already talked about. Coach Nico also mentions that the build-up was slow. I think that is facts. I thought a lot of the time Austin FC had the opportunity to break away quickly, and they decided to slow the game down. I think we saw the horseshoe of sadness again. Hadn't seen it in a while, but we saw it. And before I kind of get too ahead of myself, last thing I wanted to say is two things. My guy Usuni, when are we going to get a real goal scoring streak on? And Robert Taylor, when are we going to start producing? To me, those were the problems in this game for Austin FC. I mean, I don't know if you saw it the same way, Tucker. Any comments you would like to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue with Azuni just goes back to we need creativity from the midfield, because Azuni, he's not that dense. He's not tall enough for those crosses in the box,
100%.
especially against Dallas's 6'5" center backs. I mean, Dallas's players were tall. Like he's not good in the air. He's a striker that you need to play through the middle, and you need to get it to his feet at the top of the box. It's as simple as that. I mean, the goals that he was scoring in that like 2 or 3 game run of form that he had was from balls through the middle and scoring that way, line breaking runs, not crossing into the box for a header.
100%.
It's not going to work this way.
The goal that he scored against the Galaxy is the kind of goals that I want to see Mirtu Suni be in position to score more often. That to me, that's his bread and butter. Or even, mate, even oh my God, I was so frustrated with Mirtu. And I know the folks listening, and Tucker, we talked about this on Space. Coach mentioned this also when Eric Goodman asked him about Mirtu's goal scoring form. The chance that Mirtu had that he leaves it for Dani Pereira, brother, you gotta take that and put it into your back pocket and say, thank you very much, Osman. I believe it was Osman. This is exactly what we've been training for. This is exactly what we've been working for. This is what I've been asking for in the media, in the training ground. And he lets it go for a Dani Pereira that was not expecting it and had a guy on him 3-4 steps away. I was just really confused by that. But I'm sure the coaches let him have it either during the week or after the match, or his own teammates. I'm sure they let him have it as well, because Rubio did mention that the communication has gotten better and that they've been able to establish grounds where they can just pretty much talk shit to each other. Like, hey, you messed this up, but we're like boys. It's like if you and I go play, you tell me, hey man, you had me open, dude. Pick your freaking head up. And okay, Tuck, my fault, Tuck. That kind of brotherhood or whatnot, right? So, Tuck, just any words on that moment where Mirtu let that ball go?
I mean, it's frustrating because that's what we signed him to score, right? That's not a chance you leave for your teammate. Be selfish. Take it for yourself, especially like when you know the situation you're in and you're not scoring goals and like the fans aren't really on your side right now. You got to score that. As simple as that. I mean, that would have won us the game. As simple as that. And maybe it builds his form. It rewrites what the media says about him and like what the fans are thinking about him, because he scored a winner against Dallas at home. Like, we could have been having an entirely different podcast conversation right now. We're not.
And mate, I gotta call myself out here a little bit. I've been a Mirtu Usuni needs his family merchant for months. On the Discord, I've been saying his family needs to be here. His family's been here. His wife is here now. Thank God that everything went well in that long travel, that long journey. Nowadays, planes ain't even a damn guarantee anymore. But anyways, his wife is here. His child is here. It looks like they're loving the city. She's been posting, everything she's been doing. They went to iFly today, of all places. iFly, super cool. I've never even been there before. I need to step my Austin game up. I'm from here. Come on, man. But no, I've been one of those folks saying, oh, well, he needs his family. It's tough being away from your family. There's no more excuses. Literally, Tucker, there's literally none left. None left. You cannot say anything anymore.
Yeah, I said from the start that wasn't a good excuse, and my point's been proven. He's just not in the right form.
Oh, mate, Mirtu Suni, you got to pick it up, brother. We need you. We need you out here. This team is headed through a really interesting moment. You got the historic semifinal coming up, so got to get those bad touches out. Whatever happened against Houston and Dallas, you got to get it out of your head as soon as possible. And Montreal is coming up next. But real quick, Tucker, before we talk about Montreal, that trip to Canada, why isn't Robert Taylor producing yet?
I mean, I said from the jump when we signed him, it wasn't a good signing, right? Like, he had his former teammate come out in the media and say he was shit before Messi joined. Like,
Just roasted
that's
him.
not a green flag. I mean, my opinion is always like a team would not be so willing to move on a player if they were a good player. In Miami, it seems like we offered them money. They're like, oh, okay, take him, right? Like, it was a deadline day thing. Like, and I mean, it's shown he's just not up to speed. Like, he can twist and turn, but he just, I mean, he can't do much else, right? Like, he's become slow. He's not up to pace. Like, it's not good enough.
I hate to say it because Robert Taylor fans might be listening to this. The player might be listening to this himself. But as of right now, until he proves personally me or the media, the fan base wrong, we did Miami a favor.
Yeah.
In
100%.
freeing cap space for them.
Yeah.
100%. We said 100%.
Yeah. I mean, he's not on cheap money either. Let's get that straight. Like, he's our fifth highest paid player, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let me be clear. Let me be clear with what I said. Until he proves us wrong, we did Miami a favor in clearing up space for them to sign players.
Let's not
That's
forget
what it is right now.
He's 30 years old. He's not getting any better. He's 100%. On the back end of his career, which
100%.
has been our type of signing for our whole history that we've always said is not the right thing to do.
And don't get another thing confused, Tug. Both you and I were ecstatic when we signed this guy because we saw what he did with Miami in Leagues Cup. You weren't happy?
Not at all.
I was.
No. I literally.
You're right. You said you
can pull receipt for the Discord. I said this was a bad signing.
You said, 2 minutes ago, you said that you mentioned how it was a bad signing.
Yeah.
I was in the camp where I was like, okay, well, we're in a moment where we need help on that side. We need goals. Robert Taylor seems like he's gonna be that link to unlock this attack, and then Brandon Vasquez went down, and tough.
So
tough,
let me ask you a good question before we go on to the Montreal topic.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say next season because this season's kind of down the drain. Besides the Open Cup, what do you want from Taylor, stats wise, performance wise? Like, what do you want?
Well, he just got his first goal, right? He just got his first goal for Austin FC.
Yeah.
So when I can't ask him for a 10-goal contribution because I can't ask. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but based off what I've seen on his gameplay, I can't ask a pig to fly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for what I need from Robert Taylor is consistently good shifts off the bench, because unfortunately that's what he's been reduced to in my eyes for Austin FC. He's only a player that has earned a spot to come off the bench. He's not a starter for Austin FC. And even then, there's been times where he's come onto the field off of the bench and he looks tired. He looks like he doesn't want to be there. He gives up on balls that, yes, the passes weren't to the feet, that they were into the space, kind of maybe further beyond than what they should have been, but you can at least fight to pressure to get the ball back, and we don't even see that fire in him. So at this point, I just need him to come off of the bench and give solid shifts, because I feel like Stuver more than anybody is talking about Robert Taylor in those quotes, in those comments that he's given us. Guys, you got to pick it up when you're coming off the bench. You got to match the energy that's on the field. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I just need him to get his mind right. I need him to get his mind right and match his energy with his football when he comes on for Austin FC, because him and Savovic misplaced a short pass in the second half. And the first thing that came to my head is, that's why you're not a starter, because you're misplacing these simple passes. That's why you're not starting. That's why you're not starting. And I don't want to harp too much on these guys, because they can have a good game tomorrow, right? And we could, not tomorrow, but you know what I mean. We'll say this and that about them or whatnot. But as of late, these signings that have been coming to Austin FC, man, real sus. Real sus, man. Real sus. But let's talk about Montreal real quick. It's a trip to Canada without Dani Pereira. He picked up his 5th yellow card. I feel like I've said this 20 times already.
Yeah, I feel like every time we go to Canada, we don't have Dani.
Yes, 100%. You're spot on, mate. Yeah. And we wanted Dani to get a green card for the better of his life and the better of his family, 100%. But to take him to Canada.
Go to Canada, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. To take him to Canada. He's not gonna be there though. He's not gonna be there. And the question is, who should slot in for him? We talked about Savovic, mate. He looks like he's Nico's favorite off the bench, although he's not as attacking as maybe we'd like him to be. You have Dubersarski, who's a defensive player himself. And the drop off just gets worse. It just gets lower and lower. You could bring on Irvin Torres. You could very well bring on Irvin Torres, but you know what I'm saying. But they're not going to do that. You also have Boloko, which we have not seen at all. He apparently played against Charleston Battery in that friendly, but who knows what happened there? It was behind closed doors. Nobody was there. It was super early. You won like 4-0, but it's against Charleston, who had a good USL season. They're a good USL side, but it's USL. The level is different, right? So you should be winning these 4-5-0 or whatnot. But you can't get too much out of these games. It's just like a tune-up, right? So I want to ask you, mate, who do you want to see come in for Dani Pereira? And I just want to add that whoever you decide to fill in for him is going to have a domino effect on how you manage the rest of the game. So what do you think?
This might be an interesting thing. I want Gallagher in. I want Gallagher on left wing, and I want Owen moved back into the midfield. Simple as that.
Okay.
We need
Simple as
Owen's
that.
creativity in the midfield. Gallagher needs to be playing left wing. No more shoehorning players over there. And then, if we still want to throw a midfielder on after that, throw Sabovic in. But, Owen, Gallagher, Bakari, Azuni. That's the front four. And then that's it. And then you have your back four. You can throw Sabovic. What?
Ilya as well? Or are we doing a 4-4-2?
I'm saying I'm almost saying 4-2-4 to be honest, or like 5 like I just think you need Gallagher in at left wing. And if you're taking out Dani, you're swapping him in for Gallagher. You're running the same lineup we ran, except you're taking out Dani and you're putting in Gallagher and you're just switching the positions around.
Coach Nico famously, remember when he first arrived, when they asked him about like formation, I believe it was Phil West. They asked him about formations and stuff, and he was just like, formation is just guys on a paper, right? It's just guys, people that really know soccer, they can move around and stuff. And I was like, okay, coach, whatever you say, baby. Yeah, he was like, it's formations are just numbers or just lines on a piece of paper. And I was like, all right, whatever. So, but what I'm hearing from you, Tuck, and I'm agreeing with it, is whatever way you want to line up against Montreal without Dani, you got to put in Gallagher, and he has to be associated with the left side. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I agree with that. I was actually very frustrated with Gallagher coming in so late against Dallas and not being a starter against Dallas. I don't know what happened. How did Gallagher lose that favor? He's one of Nico's favorites, and then out of nowhere he's missing, and I think we need him back. 100%. 100% need him back. So we were on the Montreal, right? They tied 1-1 against DC United, and both you and I, Tucker, we watched the highlights of that one. I didn't watch the game. I don't know if you watched their game against DC, but what I saw in the goal that they conceded was that it was pretty much a mess up in the midfield. DC United wins the ball back. And the amount of time it takes the defenders to close down the DC United player that gets the ball in this counterattack is 10 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi almost. And if you remember, maybe one season ago, not that long ago, Mr. Brandon Craig, once an Austin FC loanee player, he was here for a little bit. Fans were very mad that he never got to play or whatnot, but there was a lot that went in on it that we don't have time to get into it today. He is a starter for Montreal, so you'll see him. He started against DC, and he's the player I'm talking about that took forever to close down in that DC United goal. But Tucker, your thoughts on Montreal, the goal that they conceded? Can Austin FC take advantage of something like that?
Look, they're the worst team in the league. The only team worse, arguably, is Galaxy. It's as simple as that. You have to go and win this game. They are terrible defensively. This is a game where you're talking about you want people in the midfield because you want people making those line-breaking passes. That is how we're going to beat them. They are a horrible – horrible is not big enough of a word to describe how bad they are. There's no excuses for not winning.
Montreal is like that forgotten MLS team. Every time that they're on the schedule, I'm like, shoot, Montreal's still in here.
They're still here? Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't they get dissolved or something? No, they're still there. Oh, okay. Yeah. Montreal. All right, cool, whatever. No, but 100%. Oh, Drogba, he did. That was the last time they were relevant. I remember that. But no, and also I think they're relevant because I think Carlo and Ancelotti vacations there and in Montana and in Vancouver sometimes or whatnot. But anyways, relevant in some cases or whatnot. But like you said, Tucker, worst team in the league, but Austin FC really can't fancy themselves with that kind of stat. You know, they got to go over there, take care of business. 3-0, 3-1. And we also have to point out, Tuck, that lately Austin FC has played better away from home. We asked Coach Nico, hey, Coach, what do you think this is because? You know, what do you think this is? You know, we asked him, like, why does he think this is happening? That Austin FC has more points, more wins away than at home. And he chalks it up to a coincidence. But I wonder if there's something psychological there where, because even after this Dallas game, Tucker, Coach mentions how it's also something emotional where the players want to give the fans that winning goal or to secure the game, that they might open up at the back, or they might be exposed to the counter, or they create these moments of chaos in their own box, like the goal that Dallas scored, right? So I wonder if it's an element of maybe more than just footy that maybe is affecting these Austin FC players as to why they have better results away from home than at Q2. I mean, Q2 is so insane when you're thinking about MLS terms. There's not a lot of cities that have this kind of support. There's just point blank period. And I would hate it if one day Austin loses this amazing support. You know what I mean, Tuck?
Honestly, like if nothing changes, I mean, winning the Open Cup could really, I think, change the trajectory of our team. But if we don't win that, I mean, we've been a terrible team for, let's be real, 4 out of 5 years. We were good for 1 year. That's it. And we have not had a good season since. That's the only time we ever made playoffs.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough, mate. Now, before we close out on the Austin FC topic, I just wanted to send a shout out to Owen Wolff, of course. We did mention his game and all that, but he was named into the MLS Team of the Match Day. Can't skip over that. Team high 4 honors of MLS Team of the Match Day for young Owen Wolff. And remember, Tucker, when he was getting nepotism shouts, when he was getting the "you only play because you're dad," and although the timelines lined up, his father was the coach. What you're seeing from Owen Wolff now is like a kid that just went through the absolute mud, just the most disgusting attacks on social media, and he got through all of that. And sometimes his attitude towards the media can be cold, but I understand them sometimes because they torched him and they torched his family name. And sometimes I understand them. Against Dallas, the attitude he had with the media, you don't always get that from Owen. So I was really happy that he was smiling for the camera. He answered everybody's question. He was there for 5-6 minutes. You don't always get that from Owen. So, and it's not, you can't just blame it. It's because of everything he's been through. And he's only 20 years old. And he's on the supplemental roster spot, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody on the supplemental roster spot going through all this at this point is like, wow. But no, that news right there for Owen Wolff. Any other recent news? Pretty much the referees admit that they ain't shit. We knew that already. And Austin FC 2 got absolutely battered by the Colorado Rapids 4-1. Absolutely battered. Missing Nico Van Rij, missing that kid. But he went on to bigger, better things in the 3rd division of Spain. What's going on with Austin FC 2? I mean, with our team, where players would rather go to the 3rd tier side in Spain.
Yeah, I mean,
what's going on?
I don't take that seriously anymore. I mean, the year we won it, that was a squad of 25-year-olds.
It was.
It's never been serious. There's no. I mean, I've talked to academy kids, and all of them say there's no hope. There's no pathway. They're
that
really
pisses me off.
They're there to learn how to play soccer. They know they're not getting to the first team because it's just impossible.
I could go off on what you just said, mate. You know me. You've been with me to academy games. I'd rather just not talk about that today. We can save that topic for another day. But and I know, and I'm very frustrated with the situation.
Yeah.
But anyways, we can move on to some European conversation, mate. But real quick, are you feeling good about the Montreal game? Score prediction before we move on.
I mean, I want to say 2 or 3-0 win, but with this team, I honestly don't know. I'll say 2-0 win. I'll just say 2-0 win, even though I think it needs to be more than that.
I'm gonna rock with the 2-1 or a possible 3-1. 2-3-1. That's what I'm rocking with. Yeah. All right, write it down. Put it in stone.
I think it could be similar to the San Jose game, where they're a crap team, but we still concede to them, but we score on them a lot.
Fair.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. Now, moving on to some European conversations, mate. The EPL is back in great fashion. A lot of really good games on match day one. I loved it. La Liga is back in controversial form, picked up where it left off. Barcelona and Real Madrid having very controversial games, both both of them. And then some late transfer news coming out from the EPL. West Ham, Edson Alvarez to Fenerbahce. But some good news there. It's Jose Mourinho, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But I want to start off with the EPL, of course. Match day one is in the books, Tucker. You had Liverpool defeat Bournemouth, Villa and Newcastle. They share points 0-0. Brighton and Fulham 1-1. Sunderland back in the Premier League 3-0. And a little funny thing about Sunderland, Tucker, is apparently, and Diego Valencia from the Spanish podcast filled me in on this. Apparently, every year, Mexican Twitter decides to back a random team in the Premier League, and this year they're all backing Sunderland. So there's like 500,000 people supporting Sunderland just randomly, and Sunderland fans are like catching on. They're like, "Excuse me, did I miss something? Why is half of Mexico in the replies?" And it's just because they randomly chose to support Sunderland. It's kind of funny. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't, but I've seen everybody on Twitter. Like, I didn't know that's why that they were all supporting it, but I saw that like a lot of the like Mexican fans were supporting Sunderland.
Yes, they're crazy, man. They're crazy. But Sunderland is Mexico's team this year. They defeat West Ham 3-0. Edson Alvarez doesn't play that match. He's not even brought off the bench, so it just adds to the rumors of him joining Fenerbahce. Tottenham defeat Burnley 3-0. Thomas Frank starting his season pretty good with Spurs. Man City, I mean, defeat Wolves. I think we all expected that. But we can probably take a break with the Chelsea and Crystal Palace one. But real quick, let me finish with Nottingham 3-1. They defeat Brentford. Man United, they lose against Arsenal. Really weird game because if you watch the highlights, you'd think United won this game. And then Leeds defeat Everton 1-0. How are both of these teams still in the Premier League? Leeds and Everton? How? I swear I thought they both went down last season, mate. But anyways, Tucker, Chelsea, Crystal Palace. I think this was the biggest shock of match day one at how just underwhelming it was. I thought it was one of them was gonna win. But what were your Chelsea thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lose my head over it. It was a very frustrating watch, but I've calmed down. Crystal Palace played exactly like Dallas. They did not want to play the game. They sat back and they put all 11 people behind the ball, put 4 people on Palmer so he couldn't do anything. And that's just how it was. They had one free kick that was disallowed for a really weird rule that, as a Chelsea fan, I'm going to say I want disallowed so we get the result. But if it was the other way around, I would be saying that's a stupid call. But It's match day one. We've also only been back in training for 10 days after coming off of the Club World Cup. And then we had both of our preseason matches were within 2 days of each other. We had one on Friday and then one on Sunday. So, I mean, we're still kind of getting back into it. I'm not really freaking out. I think we could have been better at getting Joao Pedro and Palmer on the ball a bit more. I thought Neto looked a little tired, but like I said, we're right back into the season. We haven't been back for very long. Esteval looked unreal. I honestly think we need him starting, even at 18 years old. I think by the end of the season, if we play him right, I think he could be talked about in Doué and Yamal levels because he's just that good. But he needs the game time. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'm not freaking out or anything. There's things that need to be improved, but I'm still positive about the season.
Todd, do you think this statement is true? You ready? Every team in the Premier League is going to throw all they got at Chelsea this season. You're the team that everybody wants to beat because they want to say, that's the world champions. That's your world champions. Oh, we just beat them. What does that make us? You see what I'm saying?
I feel like that happens even last season too. Teams just, for some reason, just play different against us. They sit back and defend and just hope for something on the counter. A lot of the bottom half teams do that every season. For the last few seasons, it's worked. We just haven't been able to break down low blocks. But this season, I'm feeling more positive that all the teams that rock up just to sit back in a low block. I think we have players now that we can kind of get out of that and, make those statements and say, yeah, no, we're going to be fighting for top 3, maybe beyond that. We're going to beat you.
And honestly, this is going to be a tough season because of that reason for Chelsea fans and for Chelsea players, Chelsea coaches, the whole organization. Because one thing that I was saying after Chelsea won the Club World Cup, they won it fair and square. But one thing I kept saying was like, I need them to win something massive after this to just add to their dynasty. They have been winning a lot of trophies. They have been winning a lot of trophies. It's not like they just won the Club World Cup and that's it. No, they've been winning. They won the Conference League, right? They did that. Completed football. They won the Club World Cup in fair and square fashion, no controversy whatsoever. And but if they do poorly in the Premier League this year, I feel like a lot of pundits on a national level, they're gonna discredit what they did at the Club World Cup and be like, oh, they can't handle the Premier League. Well, then what kind of level was the Club World Cup? You know what I'm saying? But we all know the Premier League is tough.
No, 100%. Like I think to follow up the Club World Cup win, you have to finish top 4. You have to.
Yes.
I think we'll finish 3rd. I think we're better than Arsenal. I think Arsenal are a shit team this season and have gotten worse. Gyökeres, I'm just gonna say it. This isn't the Portuguese league. I'm gonna go on a short rant about Gyökeres. He is a con artist and he is a fraud. Only 2 of his goals last season were against top 10 sides, and one of them was a pen. So he's a fraud. You can do this.
Celebration merchant.
Exactly.
TikTok signing. TikTok signing, bro.
He's a TikTok edit merchant. That's what he is.
Bro, every kid in MLS Next does this.
Yeah, exactly. But you have to finish top 3, top 4. I want to say we need to win a domestic cup, whether it's the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. You have to win one of them. And
I agree.
I think quarterfinals in the Champions League would be acceptable.
I agree, and thank you for putting these standards on your team, mate. Thank you, because Chelsea, in order to be talked about, in big club conversations, I feel like Chelsea has to keep this mindset, and I feel like the players want it. The coach obviously wants it, and we also can't discredit what Crystal Palace is right now, right? They're a team that beat City, they're a team that beat Liverpool, right? They're not just anybody. Crystal Palace is. That's what I'm saying. They're not just anybody right now. They have Chris Richards back there. Chris Richards has been doing great things with the national team also. We got to give him a little bit of respect. Got to give him a little bit of respect.
They also have Eze. And I know Eze looks like he's out the door to Tottenham, but at the current moment, I think Eze is a top 5 player in the Premier League. I think he's the 5th best player in the Premier League. And he's playing
great free kick.
Yeah.
Great free kick too. Weirdly disallowed. I'm with you 100%. Weirdly disallowed, but also, you can't push a guy like that. You can't push a guy like that. He completely destabilizes him.
This is the thing. That's not why it was disallowed. It was disallowed because he was 1 meter too close to the where it was taken. That's why I'm saying if that was given again, against us, I would be screaming about that. Like that was just I think that was stupid to disallow. But
hey. Welcome to the Prem.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the Prem. Next week, something like that will happen in a Villa Everton game, and they won't call it. And it'll be like, well, what the hell just happened against Chelsea?
The Liverpool handball incidents, one of the Bournemouth defenders literally, it should have been a straight red card. He sticks his hand out and swipes and hits the ball so it doesn't go through for Ekitike to be 1-on-1. And
welcome to the Prem.
Welcome
to the Prem.
Yeah.
Well, the Prem is back and some really good games, like I mentioned, match day 1. A lot of good stuff coming up. Arsenal defeats Man United in weird fashion. I think Man United was the better side. Arsenal just took advantage of this weird moment where the goalkeeper did really bad, should have punched it out. Weak hands. You can't be doing this at the level when you're a goalkeeper for Man United. Just so much wrong with the goal that Arsenal scored, but they don't care. Right, it's 3 points for them in the bag. They got 1 against Man United, and they'll be looking to get the double on them when the return fixture happens. But I gotta give a little bit of hope to United fans. I think they got some good stuff going on. They hit the post. What's his name? Mbomo. He looked okay. I think he has a fantastic touch. Great hold up play. Maybe needs to work on his shot or his final decision or whatnot, but. That'll come with a little bit of game time, right? It'll come with time. Just not much you can say about match day 1.
I agree. I think United really can look up. I think Šeško is a good player. He is a good proper striker. He has crazy hops. He's strong. He can shoot. I think Cunha also was one of the best players in the Premier League last season. He's the only reason Wolves weren't relegated last season. Like, he was an outstanding player. And Mbeumo, like you said, he was Brentford's best player last season. He had like 20 plus goals. He was insane. Like, they have a really good attacking trio. I don't think that solves their issues. I still think they have issues in the back line and in the midfield and at goalkeeper, but I think they'll score a lot of goals this season, and that'll help them a lot.
That guy Cunha, bro. Oh my God. The moment
insane.
where he took 2, 3, 4 players, just final things in the final third the United needs to correct, and they could be a top 10 team.
Yeah.
Top 10 for sure.
I think a good season for them this season will be 7th. I think their midfield, besides Bruno, their defensive mids and their back line and goalkeeper is not good enough. But Bruno and Mbeumo, Cunha and Šeško can get you top 8, top 7.
Shout out to my G Eric. Eric, he said literally the same thing you just did. 7th, 8th around there. They can balance that out. I'm going 10th just to give myself a little bit more cushion. But I think a lot of United fans, they might agree, they might disagree, but the ones that are real, they might be like, hey, you know what? That sounds like a good season. And this team is still rebuilding. Rebuilding, and richest team in the world. They can scream this and that. It's over for you, bud. It's over, mate. It's crazy how a team can go from glory Man United to Old Trafford is leaking. The roof is leaking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just an ownership. That's all it is.
Wow, crazy. Anyways, La Liga talk just real quick. Real Madrid played today, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Little bit of a sus game. The first half was very, very boring. It was 0-0, as you can see here on the score chart. Mbappe gets the only goal of the game at the 51st minute, a penalty. No controversy at all. It was a penalty 100%. Mbappe gets brought down. He puts it away, very nicely done or whatnot. Apparently a controversial red card in the 95th minute. I don't know what people are talking about. It was a rightfully shown red card. But Real Madrid starting La Liga kind of slow. The start of the Xabi Alonso era. The new kid from River Plate, Mastantuono, he did play after like the 60th minute, and the stadium was chanting his name. They were saying Franco, Franco, and they have a new chant. They made a chant for him in the tone of the Flintstones. It's the Flintstones. It's the Franco. Mastantuono. It's a really funny chant and whatnot. But anyways, you could tell that the fan base is happy he's there. They're embracing him. And we'll see what this player is going to turn out to be. He's very young, 18, 19 years old, an insane amount of money paid for him for River Plate. So a lot of pressure. And one thing, mate, that I liked from this, the main thing that I liked about this game was that Xabi Alonso sent a clear message. Nobody is safe. He was making substitutions that Carlo Ancelotti would not dare to make, mate. Not dare to make. He was bringing off guys that are institutionalized under Carlo. Not institutionalized, but they were set in stone under Carlo. And Xabi Alonso is bringing guys on at times where they can influence the match. I remember a big criticism that fans had for Carlo was that, mate, you're making subs at the 85th minute. No time to influence the game. You got to bring them on at the 60th, 65th at latest. And so Xabi Alonso was making subs. He was trying to influence the game. He was trying to make changes or whatnot. So that made me happy. We'll see what happens in match day 2. But you can't talk about La Liga without mentioning Barca. But go ahead, Tucker.
Yeah, I was just going to say on Madrid's topic, I mostly just wanted to ask you, because me personally, I just don't think Xabi Alonso solves the Vinny Mbappe issue, right? And I kind of just want your opinion on that, because Vinny, everybody knows he was god-awful last season. And Mbappe was your best player last season. He scored all of the goals. I still defended
Vinny.
Like,
I still defended Vinny.
I don't think Xabi Alonso solves that problem. I think you have to get rid of Vinny. But I want your opinion.
I'm at the point now where I'm agreeing with that side of the world that's saying Vinny has to go. And it hurts me because this is a boy that I saw grow at Real Madrid. I'm getting to the point where I'm Unk status, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm seeing players come and go at these clubs, right? I'm
Yeah.
seeing them grow up like I mean, we all saw Sancho, right? We all saw Sancho come and go. I mean, he's still there,
Nah,
but
his career is down the drain.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But Vini is a guy that I clearly remember talking to Danny Bands, and when Madrid signed him from, what was it, Flamengo, we were like, 18 million, 20 million for a kid from Brazil? Florentino Perez better know what he's doing, right? And like I
yeah.
clearly remember that moment. And then he went to Castilla, earned his stripes. I remember I went to Washington, D.C. by myself to see a friendly between Real Madrid and Juventus. The moment that Ronaldo left Madrid, I thought that was going to be his farewell. It wasn't. He was in China promoting Nike. But I saw Vini, young Vini, buzz cut, bald head Vini. He was like number 29 or 39 or super high number. Odegaard was still there. Valverde still sounded like Mickey Mouse, right? And now it sucks, Tuck, that I'm leaning more to the side where Vini has to go, and I'm kind of like, why are we getting rid of Rodrigo when he has the better attitude? And Vinicius, with the different manager, he's shown that he's too proud to change. And real quick, there's one thing that he did in this match against Osasuna that just pissed me off. Match day 1, new manager, 0-0. A long ball is being crossed into him. Instead of trapping it with his chest and bringing it down, the lad turns around, tries to trap it with his back like he's prime Ronaldinho, and trap it on the ground like he's Neymar. The control goes away from him. It's going towards the touchline. He tries to rescue it. The referee calls for a throw-in, and his teammates around him throw their hands up in frustration. And it's like, bro, there's a lot of new players at Real Madrid. They're not going to stay quiet like the same way that maybe some other guys did in the past, because
Yeah.
Vinicius was the man. He was the number 7. Madrid is changing, and Vinicius has to change himself too. That little attitude that he has, I defended it in the past because I was like, hey, sometimes you got to go with these players, these star players. You got to back them sometimes. But it got to the point now where enough is enough with Vini. His antics, they're getting to the point where they irk me now. And like, as much as I've defended him in the past, he doesn't help us, the people that are defending him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly
It
what
just
I was
hurts,
thinking.
bro. It hurts. It hurts,
Yeah.
bro. It hurts because he has magic. And if he doesn't change his attitude, he's gonna be in Turkey playing for Galatasaray, or he's gonna be playing for somebody in Serie A like Fiorentina in 3 years, and he's gonna be thinking, man, I was at Real Madrid and I had the number 7. Where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he will change. I think his attitude and his ego, I don't think he's going to change. I think he just has to go.
It's difficult, but Real Madrid is changing. I'm here for it. I'm here for the Xavi era. We'll see what happens. A lot of changes at Real Madrid, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Barcelona, they won 3-0. Another controversial game in La Liga to start off this season. They won 3-0, but a lot of interesting things. As you can see here, 2 red cards for Mallorca at the 33rd and the 39th minute. They ended the game with, I believe it was 9 players, right? And Rafinha scores in the 7th minute. A lot of questions as if Rafinha should have seen a red card himself for a very harsh tackle later on to a player that the tackle was so harsh that the Mallorca assistant coaches and the team doctors stormed Rafinha. They got in his face and they told him, yo, this is a player that has 2 torn ACLs, and you're going in like that. I don't know if you've seen the tackle circulating on social media. 2 feet, sweeps him off.
I saw it. Yeah.
No card. And it's just like, oh my days. Controversial fashion, but at the end of the day, they win it 3-0. They start off in good fashion, and Lamine Yamal gets his goal. Just probably like a regular start for Barca. Controversial, 3 goals. Lamine Yamal wins. Barca.
I think that's just going to be the story the rest of the season. I think they'll win the Liga again. They'll probably push for Champions League. I mean, I would like to say they're one of the favorites for the Champions League, but I don't know. I wasn't convinced last season of like their later runs in the Champions. I mean, you look at how bad Inter are, and they put 7 past Barca, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think they've changed their defensive line enough to be able to win a Champions League.
No, and if I'm not mistaken, they've also lost an important piece of their backline.
Yeah,
Inigo
they did.
Martinez.
Saudi, yeah.
Inigo
Yeah.
Martinez
He
is
was really
gone.
important
So
last season. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what Barca's gonna do there. You're spot on, because the attack wasn't an issue for them. They had those crazy matches with Inter in
Yeah.
the Champions League semis, but in the end, it was the defending. It was like a basketball game. It was back and forth.
They could not stop conceding.
They couldn't
Yeah.
stop conceding.
Even when they were thrashing Madrid, they were winning 4-3. Like
Yeah.
they could not stop conceding goals.
Now, last topic, mate, before we get out of here. I really have enjoyed the conversation today with Maiji Tuck. The last thing that we'll talk about today, mate, I'm trying to get the photo here on the screen. If you just give me 1 sec. It's something that's kind of painful. Painful because this is probably the best Mexican soccer player right now. He's the best midfielder that the Mexican national team has. And it's about Edson Alvarez. He is apparently on the it's not letting me save it. It is what it is. Apparently, ladies and gentlemen, Edson Alvarez is on the verge of signing with Fenerbahce in the Dutch league under Jose Mourinho, which is the only positive that I can spin on this, is the fact that a Mexican heading into the Club World Cup, an important Mexican, will be coached by none other than Jose Mourinho. He can bring that mentality to the locker room in the World Cup, to the Mexican national team. But Tuck, I can't find anything else good to add to this other than a downgrade. An important piece of the Mexican national team, the MVP of the Gold Cup final for Mexico against USA, downgrading from the EPL to the Dutch league. I mean, it's usually the other way around.
Turkish league.
I'm sorry, the Turkish league. I'm sorry, the Turkish league. I don't know why I confuse them. The Turkish league, which is even worse. That's fucking worse.
That's gonna hurt West Ham a lot because he's one of their best players besides
Mate,
Piqueta.
fuck West Ham right now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the Mexican national team, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously gonna show it down. I mean, anytime you decrease leagues, you decrease quality. And I remember he was very close to being here we go in the summer of 2023 to Chelsea. Like we were almost confirmed signing him, and then West Ham came swooped in and got him.
No, mate, there was talks of him going to Dortmund also.
Yeah.
That fell through. And he's going to Turkey now, to Fenerbahce under Jose. I just can't think of anything other than downgrade. That's the only thing I can think of. And I wonder what happened. I wonder if it was just like West Ham needed some money at just right at the end of it. And, it was very late on, and coaches already have their team settled by now, right? And Edson is the kind of profile player where you already have a plan for that kind of profile guy, right? And it's just so difficult. The best thing about this is that he's going to be coached by a proper guy, Mourinho. That's the best thing about this. And I think that's the only reason why Edson would even decide to go to Fenerbahce, because of the kind of coach. And I'm sure that the Mexican national team head coach had some conversation with Edson. Is like, well, bro, just at least you're going with Jose. He's a good coach. I might know him. I don't know if they have links or whatnot, but Tuck, that's the only thing that I can add to this from being positive. This move, it's so shit. It's so shit right now.
I agree, because I mean, you don't want arguably your best player on the national team to be playing in Turkey. Like, it's just not a good message it's not a good message for the national team all around. It's just not.
Now, I'm hoping the other thing I was thinking about as well, I'm hoping that it's just like a trampoline signing where it's a very last minute solution for some troubles that was going on at West Ham. You're at Fenerbahce for the World Cup season. After the World Cup, hopefully you have a great World Cup, and then a bigger club comes knocking at your door again, because he's still very young. He's still the best Mexican national team midfielder, MVP at the Gold Cup final. Like I said, Fenerbahce is not his level. It's not his level, but he's going to have consistent minutes. He's not going to have to fight for a spot. As long as he's healthy, he's going to play. And like I said, he's under a proper coach. So if he does well at Fenerbahce, he keeps up his fitness, has a good World Cup, I see him going back to the top levels again. Just please do not come to MLS or Liga MX. Stay in Europe, please. Seriously, man. Seriously, bro. This is like if Christian Pulisic just signed for Galatasaray. This is the exact same vibe. You know what I'm saying? So,
sure.
All right, mate. We can cut it off there. Great conversation today with MyG Tuck. Shout out to everybody on Patreon and on Discord. We'll be back next week to talk about some more stuff going on with Austin FC. But have a good night. Have a good rest of your week, and keep an eye on the EPL and La Liga because they are back, ladies and gentlemen. And Bundesliga is back. Luis Diaz scored the winner for Bayern. Yeah. My G Brad made sure that I knew about it because I criticized the signing. I was like, bro, this is a lot of money. And he was like, yeah, but we got money. And I was like, all right. All right, Brad. All right. But shout out to everybody. We'll see you soon. Later.